Good morning and welcome to our May breakfast meeting. I sincerely thank you for taking the time this morning to meet with us. I hope you find today's lineup to be entertaining as well as informative. If this is your first time, welcome aboard. Glad to have you here. We also welcome any elected officials, first responders, and military service members, whether active or retired, and sincerely express our gratitude for your service. Hello, attendees from other counties. We're all in this fight together for a better South Carolina, and I hope you find something useful in today's session to take back to your county Democratic Party, and feel free to share some ideas with us after this meeting. Together, we are stronger. As with previous breakfast meetings, please leave us comments on Facebook Live and in the Zoom chat window. Let us know you're here and interact with others who are watching this with you. Everything you see today will be uploaded to our YouTube channel and available on our website with notes and links. Just look under the Resources section of our website. Here's our agenda for today. I'll start by providing some party updates and awarding our Volunteer of the Month. Then we'll hear from Reverend Alexis Carter Thomas and her published guest views in the Index Journal. Denise Waldrop is back with another head-spinning update from the legislative session in Columbia. We also formally introduce you to our executive committee man, David Gaskin, one of the finest men in Greenwood County. And then our keynote speaker, Christopher Bryant, who's been involved in voting right lawsuits across the country. And finally, we'll open the lines and cameras to those on Zoom and have an open forum. Did you know that this will be our 12th virtual breakfast meeting? If you've attended all 12, you deserve some sort of Super Trooper award. As much as we love doing these, we think we see the light at the end of the tunnel. Several other counties have started in-person meetings this month. Here's what we're looking at to help decide when the time is right for us to do so safely. We're watching the daily numbers of % positive COVID tests published by Greenwood County. This chart shows the number of confirmed cases over a 2-week period per 100,000 individuals. DHEC considers 200 and above to be high, 50 and below to be low, and everything between to be medium. The trend here shows we could be headed towards DHEC's low designation by the end of June. So with that in mind, the Executive Committee is planning to hold our first in-person meeting in over a year on Saturday, July 10th. You're right, that's not the first Saturday of the month, but we wanted to avoid the 4th of July weekend. To get there, we need your help. Get vaccinated. Continue to be safe, wear the masks, and avoid crowded situations. It's all finally starting to trend better, and we can get there if we all do our small part. We don't have details yet about the July meeting, but if this trend continues, we'll announce in early June where it'll be. And we're open to any suggestions on location, so feel free to let somebody on the executive committee know. So this means that our next breakfast meeting is still going to be virtual and will be held on June the 3rd. And we've already got our first speaker lined up, and it's a doozy. We will be speaking next month with Representative Crystal Matthews, who announced recently that she's going to run for U.S. Senate against Tim Scott.
I'm Crystal Nicole Matthews, and I'm running for the U.S. Senate. After a year marked by incredible loss, we've had no choice but to keep going. We've suffered, we've adapted, we've stepped it up. While the pandemic underlined inequalities in America's workforce, our healthcare, and even our classrooms, at times even our victories were bittersweet. As a single parent in a pandemic, as a woman in America, I know what it means to push forward against the greatest of odds. But should we have to push so hard? Should we have to struggle to put food on the table and get our basic needs met? Should working families be forced to decide between paying our rent and caring for our children? I beat the odds. As a working mother of 5, a female engineering planner, and the first woman to represent South Carolina District 117. But my story should not be an outlier. I stand on the shoulders of those that came before me and choose every day to build a better future for those that will come after me. South Carolina deserves better. I'm Crystal Nicole Matthews, and I'm running for the U.S. Senate. Together, let's bring it home for South Carolina.
We really look forward to speaking with Crystal. If you have any questions you'd like to hear asked, please email us at info@gwdcountydems.org by this Monday evening. Now, Crystal wasn't the only one to make a big announcement recently.
My son is my entire world. Yeah, I'm doing my best to pass down the values that my parents taught me. Empathy, respect, hard work, and when life knocks you down, to always get back up. When I was a little older than he is now, I had a terrible speech impediment. But thanks to teachers who cared, I overcame it and kept moving forward. When the recession hit, like so many Americans, I lost my job, my house, and my purpose. But I got through it. And a little over a decade later, I made it here. I ran for Congress because I wanted to look back and show my son that anything is possible if you keep getting up. And I'm glad I did. In Congress, I kept my promise to protect our coastline, to bring Democrats and Republicans together to actually get things done, to help small businesses that were hit hard by COVID-19. And we passed a bill to close the Charleston gun loophole. But this past year has been incredibly hard. People all across our state have been knocked down. Lives have been lost, businesses closed, jobs gone. And despite all that, our leaders in Columbia are focused on this: passing one of the most extreme abortion bills in America, making it harder for African Americans to vote, and easier to carry these in public. And the worst part is, Governor McMaster has been cheering them on every step of the way. It's embarrassing. The challenges we face aren't because of our people, they're because of our politicians. And after 20 years of trying the same thing, it's time for something different, something new. Which is why I'm announcing that I'm running for governor of South Carolina. Because my son and your kids deserve better. We all do. So in the coming weeks and months, I'll be traveling to all 46 counties to introduce myself to you in person and share my ideas on how to move our state forward. Because we've got to finally expand Medicaid like 38 other states have done. It's time to actually pay our teachers what they're worth. Make it easier to vote, not harder. We need to fix our roads. And how about this? Let's pass term limits to kick out the career politicians in Columbia who have let us down for way too long. And to those who say a Democrat can't win in South Carolina,
it's cold, baby!
Well, we've heard that before. We made history then, and with your help, I know we can do it again. You see, we don't need to change South Carolina. We just need to change the types of leaders that we send to Columbia. It's time to get back up. It's time to win. Let's go.
Joe's campaign stated that there will be a 46-county tour, so we'll be sure to keep you updated when we learn of a planned Greenwood visit. While new, exciting candidates are making waves, blue waves, a few tired old Republicans were getting schooled.
So my question for Ms. Abrams, do you support voter identification laws?
Yes.
Okay. Do you support...
There are 35 states in the United States that have had voter identification laws.
Okay.
In fact, every state requires some form of identification.
Okay.
What I've objected to is restrictive voter identification laws
So,
that narrow the set of permissible materials that allow you to prove
the
your
answer
identity.
the answer is yes as a concept. Do you support the idea that voting should be limited to American citizens?
Yes.
Do you support that we should have, do you support ballot harvesting? Are you familiar with that term?
I'm familiar with the term of art that's been propagated to describe a variety of efforts. But for example, on Native American reservations where they are precluded from access due to underfunding to reach in a timely fashion locations for voting, I do believe that it's appropriate for tribal elders to collect the ballots and retrieve them and use a single source of delivery to provide those ballots and thus provide Native Americans with the opportunity to participate in elections.
Do you support it beyond Native American voting?
As I've said, I believe that it depends on the situation and that the term of art that is being used describes a variety of behaviors, and each of those behaviors should be examined for utility and for veracity, and to the extent that they help voters participate in elections in a lawful manner, they should be permitted.
Okay. Do you believe the Republican majority in Georgia, House, Senate, when they are making the changes to your state voting laws, do you think they're motivated by trying to suppress the African American vote?
I have seen it happen sometimes that they are. I've seen other bills that have been truly bipartisan in nature that have looked at and fully examined.
But you believe that's the motivation behind? Do you believe that's the motivation behind these laws?
I believe the motivation behind certain provisions in SB 202 are a direct result to the increased participation of communities of color in the 2020 and 2021 elections. I have participated for 11 years. As the Speaker Pro Tem Jones pointed out, we served together, and almost every year there was a voting law. And when those voting laws were neutral, not only on their face,
well, I'm out of time. Do you think the Speaker of the House, Speaker Pro Tem, the lady, Jan Jones, is motivated by trying to limit the African American voters in Georgia? Do you think that's...
I believe there is racial animus that generated those bills. I would not assume that that racial animus is shared by every person. But if the result is that racial animus exists and it eliminates access to the right to vote, then regardless of a certain person's heart, if the effect is deleterious to the ability of people of color to participate in elections, then that is problematic and that is wrong and it should be rejected by all.
I just don't understand. I don't understand what we're doing. I don't understand why our politics depend on demonizing other people. I just don't. And I don't understand why this is the priority. We have really good policy pending in this committee, and it would help people, and we have the opportunity to work on that too. And I don't understand why political currency and security depends on identifying somebody as an other and saying that we're going to make sure that this other doesn't interfere with us. And I'm here this morning just not understanding why we are doing this again, and why this is frankly our priority today. So that's my 2 cents. Thank you.
That smug face taking pleasure in picking on the most vulnerable members of society, taking sheer pleasure in such direct targeting, all behind a phony problem that doesn't even exist. What a waste of our time. But back to a positive note. President Biden addressed Congress for the first time this past week and knocked it out of the park. And some of us had fun playing Tim Scott bingo, matching phrases on cards with what he said in a predictably hackneyed Republican response. So, what else has the Greenwood County Democratic Party been up to this past month? Our community care movement, under the stewardship of Wanda Moore, pulled together a substantial donation of books, snacks, and supplies for the Boys and Girls Club. Guess what's next? Well, we've adopted a highway. We get to directly contribute to the betterment of our neighborhood by taking care of Cokesbury Street from Laurel Avenue to Reynolds Avenue. If we do our part to keep this section of roadway cleaned under the guidance and assistance of the county, who will provide us with the safety vests and garbage bags, then we get a DOT sign to put up to announce that the Greenwood Democrats are here, doing good for the community, and are here to stay. Our Search and Support Committee are meeting monthly looking ahead to 2022 and the positions that will be up for election. We're in search mode, and once we get a Democratic candidate for every spot, we'll go into support mode. We could use more people, so let us know if you'd like to join. Our next meeting is Thursday, May 13th at 6 p.m. We've had exciting developments in planning for the Floyd Fish Fry and Cookout event. Next month, we'll proudly announce a date and a location, and it's shaping up to be big, perhaps the biggest yet. We want this inaugural event, named in honor of a Greenwood legend, to be spectacular. Our number one priority this year, of course, is to get a precinct leader named in every one of our 50 voting precincts. We are well underway. A number of wonderful volunteers have stepped up to the challenge. I assure you, you can do so as well. Attend one of our upcoming 30-minute precinct info sessions to learn about our crawl, walk, run method of building up a Democratic precinct organization from nothing to Stacey Abrams level boss mode. The next session will be on Tuesday, May 11th at 6 p.m. Visit our website or read our email newsletter to register for this and see what it's all about. We've been drawing people in from other counties who are curious to see what we're up to. But don't expect someone else to step up in your precinct. Let it be you. And together we can help the brave men and women who run for office next year. This past month, the Young Democrats of Greenwood, under the leadership of their chair, Jitwan Floyd, pulled off an amazing accomplishment. They hosted a virtual town hall featuring 5 local representatives from the city, county, and state level.
Greetings. I am Jatwan Floyd, Chair of the Young Democrats of Greenwood. On behalf of the Young Democrats of Greenwood, I would like to welcome each of you to our first legislative town hall. This town hall is a part of our initiative to encourage civic engagement and increase public awareness in the state of South Carolina. And this evening, it is my pleasure to serve as your host.
We will still continue to pass legislation, this being the first year of the term. Bills that are not passed or do not come out this year do not die. They will carry on until the next year. So I have enjoyed being the representative. I thank everybody for giving me the support that I've had over the years, which to me is phenomenal. And I thank everybody for that. And just happy to see the Young Democrats out, and anything I can do to support you or whatever you need, please let me know. My door is always open.
So, and I cannot say enough about my partner in crime, my ride or die, Miss Ann Parks. She served me well, and we compare notes often, and so I thank you for supporting her, because I am better, because in the Democratic caucus, House caucus, we are better because Ms. Parks is there and with her senior leadership.
All right, Councilwoman Partlow, we have 1 minute left.
I certainly agree. By attending meetings and just getting familiar with processes and with people, and connecting yourself with great mentors. I was blessed to have some people in my corner who had been in politics for years and could offer me guidance and advice. So I think those things.
So with that, it was an obvious choice for our volunteer of the month, Jatwan Floyd. Thank you, Jatwan. You've accomplished so much with the Young Democrats in the past year, and that's all while graduating from Landry University just a few weeks back. In addition to a signed certificate of appreciation, he will also get a copy of Congressman Jim Clyburn's book, Blessed Experiences, Genuinely Southern, Proudly Black. We hope he finds some nuggets of wisdom in it as he begins his journey to bigger and better things. Finally, thank you to our generous financial contributors. You allow us to print informational materials, send mailings, advertise, and spread the word about our party and other endeavors. We've just received our first batch of Welcome to the Greenwood County Democratic Party pamphlets, and over 100 have been handed out already. All of this goes ultimately to support our Democratic candidates. Okay, that's enough for me. Let's move on to our first guest speaker for this morning.